The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
LA, straight up. Let's go out to LA. The new anthem, California Love Part 2. One time. To live and die in LA. West side, west side, west side. To live and die in LA, where everybody try to fatten their pocket. So many hustle for the cash, so it's hard to knock it. Everybody got their own thing, currency chasing. Worldwide through the hard times, worrying faces. Shed tears as we bury brothers close to heart. What was a friend, now a ghost in the dark. Hard part about it, brother got smoked by a fiend. Trying to floss on him, blind to a broken man's dream. A hard lesson, court cases keep him guessing. Plea bargain ain't an option now, so I'm stressing. Cost me more to be free than a life in the pen. Making money off of cuss words, writing again. Learn how to think ahead, so I fight with my pen. Late night down sunset, like in the scene. What's the worst they can do to a...
Hello. God bless your community family, and welcome to Gang Talk, second installment, special broadcast for our dear friend Vicky Lindsey. And so this is part two of three parts. And tonight, it's the men's turn. And I've invited a very special friend that's worked with Vicky for a very long time. And I'd like to start by having him introduce himself.
All right. Well, good evening. My name is Ben Owens. I'm also known as Taco. I'm with the Southern California Ceasefire Committee, and I'm a very dear friend of Vicky Lindsey, and I'm glad to be here tonight.
And we're happy you're here tonight, too, Taco. And everybody calls you Taco, better known as Taco. Right. Only official Ben Owens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
right.
But people that know you, love you, care about you, call you Taco because it's personal like that. So we're happy to have you here tonight, as we were happy to have the women last week. And I want to apologize because we weren't expecting, we were expecting a lot of phone calls, but they got locked out because there was so many. So anyone that missed the opportunity last week, we apologize for that. But it was sheer volume and just tells you how much she meant to so many that tried to call in. So tonight's the men's turn, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Owens.
All right.
Okay, because it's official now, and he has a special guest list.
All right.
Of invited folks that he asked to speak.
All right. So I'm actually texting them because they said that they're on hold. Some of them are in different places, and so I just want to make sure that we get them in there. So tonight, and I think we have our first caller on here. And
before we talk to, do you want to say anything about Vicky first?
Yeah.
Do you want to wait until?
I'll wait.
Okay. All right. Well, you lead then. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just, as they call, give them a few minutes, for their remarks or their memories of Vicky and how her legacy would live on through them or folks that they know. So we have our first caller on the line. Can you hear us?
This is Reverend Baker.
Hey, Reverend Baker, how you doing?
Oh, I'm fine, brother. Good hearing from you. Good hearing from Sister Iran.
Okay, can you speak up a little bit? Reverend Baker, can you speak up, honey?
I sure will. Just good being on the program. Good hearing from you and what you're doing to uplift a woman that's so vital to what we've been doing for a long time. She's very encouraging, has been very encouraging to me. And I say that from my heart. When I first saw her and met her, I looked at her and I said, wow, I never seen a woman so serious as this woman is with what she do. So she has really blessed me, and there's so many other things I could say, but I want to give somebody else a chance, but that's how I felt about her, and that's how I still do feel about her.
Yes. What are some of the things that you think Vicky Lindsey leaves behind?
Well, brother, I'll tell you this one thing. The Bible raises a question on who is a virtuous woman. According to the Bible, a virtuous woman is one who is a positive influence, first of all, the hard worker, the good planner, a manager, and a beautiful creature. Vicky Lindsey, this mother, this black woman, this pioneer, this soldier, this organizer, showed us how not to cry no more. So let's cry tears for the battle.
All right.
And your words about to make me cry, Reverend Baker, okay?
That was from the
touching.
heart. That was
Yes,
from the heart. Thank you.
absolutely. And so appreciated by so many mothers that are anxious to hear from the brotherhood and the fellowship of men to talk about the impact she had on you as well as the women.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, brother, for calling in. I'm hoping we'll see you at the service. You know when the service is, you got that information, correct, brother?
No, I sure don't. Please text it to me.
Oh, okay. I'll send it to you.
Are we going to announce it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're going to announce it too, Reverend Baker. So.
And I'm going to text it to you as well. Yeah.
Just let me know what I can do. Yeah.
Okay, it's a week from today.
Okay, then. Let me know what I can do.
Okay.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah, so, and we know Vicky, she knows people from all over the place. And, you know, as they call, we'll just bring them right on in. But that's just the type of person that she was, you know, whether you was from the streets or you was, you know, from the political world or entertainment or, you know, just everyone just kind of gravitated towards her energy. She was modest at the same time, but she could be aggressive, you know. She could let you know that how she felt about some things.
Vicky did what she had to do.
Yeah.
She did what she had to do at any given time, at any given place, and she had a BS radar, natural radar detector for the BS, and she would just zero right in and just stop that right in its tracks before it went any further. So we love that about her, being frank and honest.
Yeah. Yeah, she's leaving behind a great legacy for a lot of the mothers, a lot of the victims, whether you're a mother or a father, because that was her day-to-day life. You know, her interaction was, you know, making sure that folks who had been victimized would get the resources that they needed.
Absolutely. Well, that was one of the things that Pam said while we're waiting for the next caller. That's what she said last week, was that when Lina was killed, they didn't have any resources to help grieving families, any resources to help bury the children, any resources to help with counseling. Nothing. There was nothing available. So that was one of the main things that drove her, was that seeing there wasn't anything for her, there's nothing for anybody else. And, you know, what are we supposed to do at a horrific moment as that?
Right.
You know, because that was the distinction. Those murders were in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Okay, your child went out to the liquor store and didn't get home. Like, well, why didn't he get home?
Right.
Because he was killed between your house and that store. And that was the tragic reality that mothers had to accept. In a heartbeat, their child was snatched away from them. And it's like, first comes the shock. Then it's like, where do I go from here? And Vicky said, come this way. She was that gap filler that said, hey, come this way. We have those answers for you. And so, such a special place. Yes. She was such a special place.
Okay, we have another caller.
Hello, caller. Can you hear us?
Yes, indeed. How y'all doing? How you doing, Sister Heron and Brother Taco? This is Melvin Haywood.
Hey, brother.
Hello, Melvin Hayes.
Yes, indeed, man.
How
I
nice
just want
to
to
hear.
call to definitely pay my respects to Sister Vicky. You know, I had to laugh a little bit when you said she had that BS radar, and that's definitely the truth.
If you know Vicky, you know that part about her. Bless her heart, and I'm glad you second that. Yes,
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think some of my fondest memories of Vicky was in the early days of, and I have plenty of them, but I can recall in the early days of us having the Southern California Ceasefire Committee meetings, and we had some resistance by an individual and the church, and Sister Vicky was not playing any games. She made sure that the church knew what our mission was and what we were trying to do in the community. And she was even engaged in some of the meetings with individuals who may not have wanted us in that area. And so, just her due diligence to make sure that the people who would serve in the community eliminated those obstacles. She was serious about it. And so, a strong woman on the front line for many years. And, the one thing that I believe her legacy she left is the long-term ability to stay on the front line and be steadfast as it relates to serving the community and helping mothers who had experienced something that she was familiar with. And so, I just think about all of the families that she's touched, all of the women that she's supported, and then tipping her hat in our work to help, support us in our lens. For me, I'll never forget that. And so, we definitely lost a soldier who was on the front line, loving our people, and held people accountable when they needed to. So I just wanted to call in to speak my piece and show my love, and I'll definitely be at the service.
All right.
And I'm so glad that you called to talk about that because, so many times the mothers are the only ones who get the recognition. And sadly, our men have been engaged and involved and around and surrounding us, but folks haven't really noticed, Mel. And so for you to call in and talk about her not only supports the legacy and the history, that's the most important thing, is that Vicky was involved for a very long time, over 30 years. And to not know her is to not know the work. See, and you verified that you not only know the work, but you've been an active participant for a very long time too, Mel. And I just thank you for calling and saying that about our friend.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Before
Y'all have a good evening.
Before you go,
Okay,
brother, because
go ahead,
I know it's a time difference. You in Chicago, but just real quick, if you could just leave us with something with knowing that Vicky, as the field of intervention as it's been developed over these last 15 years, or what are some of the attributes that you could take with you, whether it's in Chicago or Venice, wherever you go, that when we deal with victims, because we know that intervention, it has its place, but Vicky had a way of integrating victim services with gang intervention.
Mm-hmm.
Man, and I believe it's extremely important. And I'll say this, I think sometimes we don't give ourselves enough kudos when it comes to the work that we've been able to do in Los Angeles that's really a gold standard across the country. And so now that I'm in Chicago, and we fighting this thing that's really hyper-violence and it's on a whole different level, it makes me reflect on the work that we've done in Los Angeles. And to keep homicides up under that 300 a year is just historic. And so, this Chicago is fighting to get to that point. But I think what helped us get to that position is having the collaborative spirit to work with people who wanted to get the job done, whether they was a regular civilian, whether they had a mission to support women, whether they wanted to serve the community or work with children or work with hardcore members that we served. We were able to develop a collaboration with people across the spectrum that cared about coming together. And so the Southern California Ceasefire Committee is a beautiful platform to bringing people together. Here in Chicago at this particular time, I am working on bringing victim advocates to my team so that we have those individuals like a Sister Vicky on the front line with the team, really supporting the families who are hurt, and there's a lot of killing, there's a lot of violence here in Chicago, just on a different level. And so what I recognize by having people like Sister Vicky and others on the front line playing that role is that if you coordinate the efforts and you effectively do the work on the front line, people will start to understand that they can play a role, irregardless of what their background is, what their expertise is. One thing we need from people is to really dedicate themselves time. And so I'm working to ensure that we have victim advocates. I'm working to make sure that we continue to try to meet the legacy that's connected to Los Angeles and bring this violence down. And look, we gotta give each other flowers while we're alive. And I know that Vicky saw the love across the board from you, Sister Heron, and many others. And so I'm happy to know as I speak to y'all that she knew that she was loved across the board by the people that was working with her. So, we pushing, brother, and those victim advocates are extremely important, and we got to make sure that we push to have unity in the cities that we serve.
All right.
Thank you,
again,
man.
brother, thank you for calling, man. I know we're going to see you at the funeral, and just, it'd be good to have a reunion and, celebrate the fact that we had her here with us and that we knew her.
And you know what I'd like to add too, Mel? I really would like Chicago to know that Los Angeles really has made progress. We really have made progress, and it's really because of the people like you, Taco here, members of Ceasefire, those that invested their time and their commitment, Vicky and Watts Gang Task Force, all of us. All of us has made that difference, and we want Chicago to feel that energy, the energy that we're creating right here in our own home, right here in Los Angeles. So we want to share that love with them too.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, please convey that they're not fighting this battle alone. We're praying for them as well.
Absolutely. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you next Thursday.
Yes, sir. All right. Take care.
All right.
Be
Peace.
safe.
Yeah, so I don't know if you had read the article in LA Times where, it was a real good story. Nicole,
Yes.
who's been supporting the work, the ceasefire and the victim support groups. And she was very dear to Vicky as well because she did a lot of stories that a lot of people wouldn't touch when it came to talking about victims.
We know that there were really only 3 in media that were consistent. And then I give a special place for Beverly White because Beverly White would come through. And when Beverly came through, she was determined to tell our truth, without exaggeration, without the BS. And so there were very few. And Jill. You can't call her last name.
Right.
But she was the first one that created the homicide report for the LA Times. Jill Leovy.
Yeah.
Jill Leovy, bless her heart. And Jill used to come out to the vigils.
Yeah.
And nobody else from media would do that. They'd come out when the victim was murdered, interviewed that heartbroken mother. I'm sorry, we have another caller, so we're just trying to fill airtime. Caller, can you hear us?
Yes.
Can you speak up a little bit so we can hear you?
Okay, yes. My name's Kevin Orange, also known as Twin.
Twin. Hello, honey. How you doing? Well, welcome.
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, honey. I'm happy.
Yeah.
You know I'm always happy to hear from you, Twin.
Yeah, we were just having a conversation, and again, I couldn't invite as many people as I wanted to, but I definitely want to invite some people who have, told me that Vicky impacted their lives. They had a special relationship with her, and just want to just share some of those memories, if you could share some with us.
Yeah, man. I've been knowing Vicky for years. We sort of call each other. She would call a relative. I call her my cousin.
Yes.
And because my cousins down the line was married to their brothers. Vicky, baby, Lionel brother was married to my auntie, and so that's how I became to know her. Before this great work she was doing. And so running into her doing this work, it was like, it's crazy how things end up being, how you end up being connected to someone after all these years. But I would say that she was somewhat like a mother before their time. You know, I know many have done it, but it seemed like she was chosen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we have many mothers that lost a child, but it was something about Vicky, the loss of her child, to make her pain and what she was going through, that he chose her to be the one to guide us through this process, you know, especially with the mother bringing them together, letting them know that you're not the only one out here alone that had to go through this. You don't have to go through this alone. There's other mothers, unfortunately, you know, in the same situation that lost a loved one. And then to bring them together and give them a voice to where it's not silent no more, you know. So, like she said, if you would be angry, be angry.
Yes.
You know, because like her, she like she said, she never got over it.
No.
And she, you know, she let everybody know how she feel about her son, and she used to always say the best place for him would be right here. Don't get to telling me he in a better place. She said, no, he's not. His better place is here with me.
That's
So
right.
I just think that she was just chosen, you know, to start this movement, which is not a good movement to be in it, because it's at the loss of somebody, of a loved one. So I'm just grateful that I was able to walk this walk with her, you know, and help keep her dream alive and her fight alive.
Right.
I ask you to get personal for a minute, and if you feel like it, discuss that common bond between you and Vicky.
Yeah, you know what? Unfortunately, I did lose somebody close to me, which was my twin brother. And I would say that's probably.
Speak up.
I said I took a loss of a twin brother.
Yes.
11 years ago.
Yes.
And I would never compare it to a mother losing a child, but the closest thing like me and my brother was, we came into this world together.
That's right.
You know,
Your
and
twin
and
brother. Your
yes,
twin
yes,
brother. Let's
yes, my
put that
twin,
pin
yes.
in that. Your
Yeah,
twin
my twin,
brother.
yes. And it was like a bond, like the doctor told my mother, they're going to feel each other's pain. And he was definitely right about that. I mean, it was times before he got killed, he got shot before. I was dead asleep, and I woke up like, my brother got shot. They like, man, you crazy. I felt I felt somebody shot me 6 times. And that's exactly how many times you got shot.
Yes.
And so that's just our closeness with us. So I can just imagine the bond between a mother and child, you know. And so to separate them for somebody just taking your life, it's devastating, because that's what my mother told me that night. She said they finally separated y'all. So just imagine the impact that somebody's taking someone from their mother, you know, like murdering it. Like she always said, he didn't die, he was taken. You know, he didn't get up there wondering like, hey, I want you to go kill me, take me away from my mother so she could be in this pain for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
Right.
And then your brother was stolen at a vigil. Am
Yes,
I correct
that's
about
like
that? They were
yes,
at a
yes.
vigil that night, and not only
Yes.
was he killed, your cousin was
My
murdered
cousin.
as well.
Right.
As well, yes.
So it was a double
And
homicide that took
Yes.
your twin brother and your cousin that same occasion.
Yes.
That was a horror story for the moment, twin. It was a horror story for the moment that affected every family that understood that. Not just the mothers, but the brothers and the children as well. And seeing what you're speaking about is the child side of it. That was my brother. Okay?
Yeah.
And my pain, it may not be my mother's, but his absence is just as devastating. And to my regret, the siblings have been the most overlooked in this whole process.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful to know you, twin.
Cause,
I'm grateful.
You know, cause before I got on this call, I had a training with some doctors from LMU. They trained us in healing, the healing circles that they have out. But I started to run away from it today, but I had to tap into it because I had to do some healing myself.
Yes.
And I know, like Brother Talker told me last week, talking about, man, it's time for you to take a break and kick back. And so when I was trying to run from that training today, I'm like, no, I needed it. But I had to get in that training in order to start healing me, to understand the process of what I was feeling is a natural feeling.
Yes.
And so I had to just face it, you know. So that made me much better to get on this call. I feel much better, though.
I'm glad you called, because, Twin, I'm just going to give you credit. It takes a lot of courage to be you.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of courage
Yes.
to be you, what
Yeah.
you've been
Man.
through, and to work in this level. That's courage, and that's what I
Yes.
loved about Vicky. She wasn't afraid.
Yes.
She was not afraid, and the men that stood with her weren't afraid either. And I'm proud
Yeah.
and happy to count you among them. Really,
Yes.
really.
Yeah. Before you
Yeah.
go, Twin, just give us something that how you feel that Vicky's legacy tied in with intervention. We know that intervention has been around for a long time. It's professionalized now, but we know that it used to be you can call somebody and they call somebody and they put the fire out. But this was new to us, coming to the table and actually sitting down at the table with mothers and victims. And Vicky kind of spearheaded that for us. What was that like to you?
Giving the mothers a voice and giving the people that they lost a voice to make you understand that we're not going to forget about the loved ones. Society might, but we're going to make you remember them. Like they say their name. I think she gave the dead a voice. So the people that might have got killed 10, 20, 30 years ago, she gave them a voice, so that not they life didn't die in vain, that they still alive through us, through Vicky, now through us. And so it continued to go on to where the people never died, just like Vicky. Vicky is still going to be alive through us. Lionel is still going to be alive through us. My brother's going to be alive through us.
Yes.
If I'm perishing gone, they still going to live through us because we're here, and we're going to pass the stories on so that they can keep them alive as well.
All right, man. Well, thank you again for calling in, man. We know we'll see you at the service, and we're just looking forward to just celebrating the wonderful life that she led, and be thankful that we got a chance to experience it with her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Our
indeed.
Harriet Tubman.
All right, that's right.
Thank you. All right.
Okay,
Thank
take
you.
care.
I love y'all.
Love you too.
too, honey. Thanks
All right.
for calling.
Okay.
There's a powerful testimony
Oh,
in you
yeah.
guys. It really is. And, I just want to say for the record, Taco, in grace, sheer grace, I never asked the men their history. Never. Because if they told me certain things,
Right.
I was going to hold a grudge. So it was better. God said, don't ask. You won't start any trouble.
Right.
But knowing that story about Twin's brother,
Yeah,
okay, folks need to know.
yeah.
Folks need to know that, family has been lost in this. Siblings have suffered with the loss of their brothers, some of their sisters. Some fathers have had to bury their babies,
Yeah.
And so it's a heck of a testimony, and to have the courage to come out and commit to making a change.
Yeah, and that's what we found that was unique about Vicky being at the ceasefire table, because she kind of opened the door to tell the victims, hey, come in here.
Yeah.
So we can see who has access to some of the people that may potentially do, harm to our communities or to our families, or maybe they can get somebody to stop doing it. Because she championed, one of her phrases was get involved by choice, not force.
Not by
So she
force,
wanted
yeah.
people to be on board, and she felt that everybody can do something. We don't necessarily do all the same thing, but you can do
used
something.
to say that we can't do all. We all don't have to do the same thing,
Right.
but we all can do something.
Something. Yeah.
And that's so powerful. And I want to mention, in the days that you were talking about, Vicky, when mothers used to bring their young teenage kids,
Yeah.
sons,
Right.
come talk to these
Right.
brothers, because my baby's being a knothead right now.
Right.
He doesn't want to listen to me. He's
Right.
sure not going to do what I tell him.
Right.
You men talk to him.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
tell him the facts of life. And that, I thought that was such a proud time for ceasefire,
Yeah.
for mothers like that to come to you and say, talk to this boy,
Yeah.
talk to him, because if you don't catch him, I'm going to kill him myself.
Yeah.
Just as simple
Yeah.
as that. And that was such a community kind of assistance that nobody else was giving.
Yeah.
No one else had opened their doors and told that mother, come bring your knothead boy to us.
Right.
and
Yeah.
we'll talk to him like real men.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody else that offered that except the men of Ceasefire. So I just want to add that in there. See, because Vicky's the reason they came.
Yeah, she is.
Yes.
Vicky would go visit people in prison and kind of, tell her story. And, I can't number the number of times men from prison would come there to that table. And, they did 20, 30 years. They probably killed somebody. But they were there at that table to make amends.
Right.
And they felt they had a redemptive value. That what is it that I can do? These were men they were genuine in keeping their word.
That's right.
That they said, I'm going to get out and I'm going to do better. I'm going to try to make sure that the next youngster don't make the same mistake that I did.
That's right.
So she had a way of drawing people to her.
Yes.
And getting them to stay at the table because she was committed to being there every Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know.
And you know what, as you mentioned that, there was a movement during that time when men that were locked up were threatening the young brothers out in the street. Don't let me catch you coming up here behind these bars or we're going to deal with you. You know, because we already warned you, don't mess up and end up here in this cell next to me. Because if you do, we're going to tune you up whatever we have to do to get your attention. You know, see, so that was working from the inside out as a community trying to save the knuckleheads that the Muslims was bringing to you to talk to. Okay, keep my baby out of jail, please, Taco Twin. Come on, Mel, do something. You know, don't let the streets steal him from me. You see, and so that kind of full service was so unique. And still to this day, there's only two viables, Watts Gang Task Force and Southern California Ceasefire Committee. Only two in this whole city.
And we're trying to, through all of everything that's going on in the world, figure out what is a platform that we could use that would be effective to be able to reach people. We're in days of uncertainty. We don't know, what to do, where to go. Is this illegal? Is this legal? You go to work, you don't go to work, you take a test. I mean, just so many different things that are happening. But we know that the table is still needed because, unfortunately, we're still seeing people shot and killed more so than the virus itself. So we have to... reel it back in, come up with, a recipe that we could, be able to give to our people. Because we know when Vicky started at the table, she's an original Ceasefire member. We started the year in 2005 with 1,146 people killed in the county. So that is a lot of people. And that's from Compton to Watts to, Gardena, all over.
Inglewood, too, San Pedro.
But we begin to see as people begin to talk about it or they made more awareness of murders happening or people being victimized or violence taking place, that the more that people talked about it or became aware of things that were happening, the numbers begin to dwindle.
They did.
Any's too many.
It's too many.
But I think we probably got it down to about 500 a year now.
Actually, it's lower than that
in the county.
The county.
So and we count the county because she tell you in a minute she's from Compton.
That's right.
It doesn't matter.
Well, and you're right about that. See, because last week I quoted the figures from just Los Angeles, and in '88 they were 750, almost 800. But when you add in the county, as Lorna Hawkins reminded us, in the county it was thousands, and she was right. I went back and checked those numbers, and there was minimum 1,100. 1,100. And you add that with the city, you're talking about 2,000 people a year in the black and brown community. And, those are staggering numbers. Staggering numbers. 2,000 families lost somebody that was dear to them, and I don't mean lost. That family member was murdered. Murdered.
And that's 2,000 stories of an individual, male, female, young, old, whatever race they were. They had a story connected to them. And I think that's what Vicky gave to the table. She legitimized them being a victim, because
Yes.
we would go to some homicide scene and nobody would be there.
Mhm.
And we
Oh,
like,
my God.
you know, where's the family? Where's the friends? Where's the neighbors? Where's anybody for this person?
Yeah.
But to her, that person was still a human being. That
That's
person was
right.
victimized. That person's life was stolen.
That's right.
And so as people begin to see, you know, that people, that lives matter. I remember that one time we were not too far from here in back of Manual Arts High School, and a guy had gotten killed, and we were doing a prayer vigil, remember?
Yes, I remember.
And the man drove by. And
That was in the Gigliovi days. We were
Yeah,
back behind
yeah,
Manual
yeah,
Arts.
yeah.
Yes. Oh,
you
my
remember the guy, he
God.
turned around and parked his car and started crying. He said his son had been killed, and
Yes.
he didn't get a chance to honor his son through a vigil.
No.
So he came and honored this stranger. And,
Right.
you know, that was amazing within itself, because, again, we didn't know who he was. We just knew that somebody had been killed.
That's right.
And nobody had honored or memorialized this person. Come to find out, he was from Texas and made his way here, and, you know, his family didn't know about it, but eventually read the story in the LA Times and, you know, claimed his body and things. But things like that, just the awareness,
Yes.
you know.
And somebody to show up.
Yeah.
Somebody, and
Yeah.
that's what you did. We showed up. Folks got a chance to see, well, somebody else cares about this besides me. And not only do they care about it, they're bringing information that's going to help me with finalizing all of this, police stuff, and all those things. Somebody's going to help guide me through that process. And the power in just that movement lit a light turned on over our community, a light of hope. A light of encouragement, a light of concern that we didn't have before then. Right. We didn't have that before you started showing up, before ceasefire, before there were vigils.
Right.
You know, and we've been to some vigils where we had to leave.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, so, you know, that's part of it too.
Yeah. But imagine all the vigils we get called to, because it was a new experience to some people, to some families and communities. They said, we don't know how to run a vigil. We don't know what to do. You know, folks are standing there. They get candles. They don't know to pray. They don't know what to do. They didn't know how to reach out to get the victim services that they need.
Oh my
so
God.
a lot of people were lacking in that regard.
Yeah.
And how much so would that be frustrating or traumatic, and that become contagious, you know, to someone else, and might as well retaliate. I'm not getting any justice here. I'm not getting any sympathy here.
You know, and a lot of that came from angry siblings.
Yeah.
You killed my brother. Who killed my brother? I'm going to go find them. And some mothers, too.
Yeah.
I'm going to go find who killed my son. And we have a caller on the line. Caller, can you hear us? Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay. Can you speak?
Hello? Hello, can you hear us?
There we go.
Yeah. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, how you doing?
Is this Pastor Eagle?
Yes,
Hey, Pastor, how you doing this evening?
I'm fine. Glad to hear all of you on the phone.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad to hear you too, Pastor. We just need you to speak up a little bit so everybody can hear you.
All right, let me get in my office in my chair here.
You should have been in your office, sir. Come on. You know we was expecting to hear from you. And we're happy to hear from you now, so.
I'm glad you're still doing these programs.
Okay. Are you in your office now? Can you hear us? Can you speak up?
I'm in
Okay. Well, wherever you are, we're just glad to hear from you.
Well, glad to hear from you, too. I don't so much care about the circumstance, but I'm glad we're able to communicate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Touch base about a loved one that we all cared about and have stories about. So,
Yeah.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, we were just talking, Pastor Eagle. We've had a couple callers call in, and just, you know, considering the circumstances, which, you know, Vicky left us, but what she left behind is just as important. How she's impacted the lives of people who needed her, and she arrived. You know, she showed up. especially when we talk about the victims and the mothers. And I know you do something special, not just once a year, but you have a special place in your heart for the mothers of victims of violent crime. You want to talk about that for a minute?
Well, the good Lord put that in my spirit, and back in 2005. In 2000, that's when I met Vicky. In 2007, if you want to know the story, I went to the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, the mayor's office, city council, and asked them for a day for mothers of murdered youth and children, first Sunday in May. And the first person that I went to after I got it acknowledged and accepted by Von Breathworth, I went to Vicky Lindsey. Vicky was dealing with Project Cry No More.
Yes, sir.
And I said, Vicky, I got this day for you, the first Sunday in May. And she seemed happy, and I was happy, but she said, but, because it was titled Mothers Who Lost Loved Ones to Violence in the Street. And Vicky straightened me out right quick. You know where I'm going.
Yeah.
You said, anything lost can be found. And my son is not lost. Lionel is not lost.
That's right.
Straighten it. Made me change the name, so I changed the name to Mothers of Murdered Youth and Children.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that Vicky will tell you in a minute my child is not lost. Not like my car keys.
Right.
Not like having my house foreclosed on. No.
Right.
He was murdered. I'm not going to find him.
And every year we'd have this program for the mothers. We'd march and we'd have entertainers come by and give their acknowledgement. And I'd say every year, Vicky, you got to talk on the program, but you got to walk with it. And she said, I ain't walking. I'll talk about it. I'll say something. I ain't walking.
Yeah.
But every year she would walk. But she also influenced me to shorten the walk. So when I was in St. Mark over there in the Avalon 130th, we made the block 2 blocks. We made the walk 2 blocks. Taco, you were there. It was there, Mr. Manhattan, all those. And we only walked about 2 blocks.
Do we have a picture of Skip and Taco holding the banner? It's an antique, but it's still a picture.
We got the photograph to prove it. But
that's right.
She would tell me every year for the last 13 years, she said, I'll talk, but I ain't going to walk. She happened to walk with us a little bit anyway.
Right.
Just a little bit. But the most important thing is that she showed up.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the most important thing is that she showed up. Yeah.
So in
showed up loud. She showed up.
In lieu of her memory, I know you're going to continue to work with the mothers. Is there anything coming up on the horizon that we need to, be notified of?
Thanksgiving, I'm arranging 100. This is the objective: is to get 100 hearse, not the limousines, but the hearse.
You giving them away?
No.
I'm not sure I heard you right, Pastor. You said 100 what?
Hearse, H-E-A-R-S-E.
H-E-A-R-S-E. That's what I was afraid you said.
I have 100 hearse.
Okay.
Going up from Inglewood Sanctuary to the city of Long Beach.
Oh, wow.
All right.
And of just how many mothers have lost children.
Absolutely. Yes.
But have had children killed on these streets. And it's much more of an impact than just a bunch of limousines driving down the street.
Yes, it does.
These are all with a hearse. That's coming up around Thanksgiving. And then we usually do our usual thing in May, first Sunday in May. However, we know why that didn't happen this year. We'll double up something in May. We just don't want to have to wait till May before we do it. And May, we've always had a good response from the police department, highway patrol, sheriff. You've been with us. You've walked with us in Long Beach. You walk with us to blocks Long Beach. You have entertainers that come by that care. They don't come by to get paid. They don't come by to get noticed, but they come by to show that they care. And those are the people that we work with.
All right.
And that's made a difference, too. It's really made a difference. And I want to compliment you because you're one of the few shepherds that has been unafraid to step out on this level and unafraid to stay on this level, unafraid that this level is going to stain you somehow or your friends are going to be upset with you. That's one of the things we appreciate about you.
That's right.
Is that you showed up, that you gave and came with your support, that you supported heartbroken mothers, that you have done these things specifically for them. And I can't call a whole lot of names on your side of the pulpit.
Wow.
Really, Pastor Eagle. So let me just compliment you, on air in front of everybody and let them know that we had one faithful that we know of that was consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And that was you, sir.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'm just trying to do what the Lord asked me to do.
Yes.
I'd rather do what he said do than not do it and have to answer for it later why I didn't do it.
That's right.
There
That's
it is.
right. Wow. Well, we thank you, Pastor, for taking the time out to call. I'm hoping we're going to see you at the funeral. And
I plan to be there.
Yes,
Anything
sir.
I can do for the program.
Yeah.
In honor of Vicky Lindsey. There's only one Vicky Lindsey. We say it all the time about this.
That's right.
That's right.
But there's only one Vicky Lindsey.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful spirit, warm hearted, strong black woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she was.
Mm-hmm.
A little bitty short thing, but carried a big stick, okay?
Well, they say short people do that, though.
And she had a big presence like a giant. Yes.
Well, she is a giant.
Yes,
can't
she
let
was.
You can't let her be forgotten either.
That's right.
Right.
She's gone. We don't let the legacy just stop right there.
Right.
We keep it going. Somebody has to pick up the banner.
That's right.
That's right. That's right.
We
I
have
remember her in the office. Her and I had different, about 10, 12 other women who were head of organizations, too. They had their own organization. So it wasn't just Project Cry No More, but there was other organizations. And they would get in there and argue, but we would all settle down because Vicky would make sense, and the rest of them would make sense, and we just make sense.
That's right.
Difficult. One person see a banner up on a billboard that says $50,000 reward, and the other one doesn't get one. Well, that's hard.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It turns into a cold case. The other one, somebody's hot on it. These are difficult situations.
Yeah.
the hardest thing about the billboards and the banners, we couldn't get everybody's faces up. See, that's what people don't realize. They see that billboard, they see 4 faces, they think that's it. There are 500 more that we couldn't get on that one billboard with just 4 faces. And that's what folks really need to understand. The banners are beautiful, but there are 1,000 more faces we couldn't get on the banners. You see, so Vicky was championing for all of them, whether you saw their face or not. They represent. So each face on that 4-face billboard represented 100 people behind it.
Wow.
That's what they represented. So that was the power of those images and that message that people too often overlooked. And the beauty about the ceasefire truck in the King Parade. How many people came up and said, oh, that's my family. Oh, I know that person. Oh, that was my friend. They recognized somebody in those faces. So that was the biggest impact that we've had. And thanks to Vicky, we got those banners. And we got them in the King Parade.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you didn't have a lot of crossfire with that.
No, not at all. Not at all.
You didn't have that. And that's the underlying. That's what girds the underlining of all of this. That, you know, you can be from one side, somebody else from another side, but you can all come together on one thing. There's been a death.
That's right.
And somebody, and we need to deal with that kind of hurt.
Absolutely.
I couldn't stand to see these mothers just ignored. I was going to school to get my doctorate degree, and the person that I was taught, some of the professors would look at these mothers like something's wrong with them. You know, nothing wrong with it's wrong with you. It's not wrong with them.
Nothing wrong with them. Nothing.
That was a problem. I met a mother once that had 3 young men, 3 sons had been killed. 3. One by the police, one by the street, one another way by a loved one. But 3, can you imagine that? 3 sons? 3 sons?
I'd hate to imagine it, but, sadly, Pastor, I understand it. That's what hurts me, is that I understand it. Yeah. And that's the shame on our black nation, is to say that 3 young men from one family were stolen from this world.
Absolutely.
Okay, and we allowed that to go on and have those numbers increase as if 3 wasn't enough. You see, and this is a reality check the black nation needs to self-impose. That our silence has condoned and co-signed that it's okay. It's just another black man. He wasn't in my family. He was over there. You see, we've made those kind of excuses to anesthetize ourselves as if we're immune. That's a disgrace. That's the disgrace, to act like our family's immune.
Right.
It's to say, oh, well, I'm sorry, but that happened to them. It didn't happen to me. You see, and for too many years, we've lived that lie.
Vicky used to say that, too. How would she word that? I can't remember exactly how she used to word it. But if it's not happening to you, or if it's not happening to you, it will be happening to you, or it might be happening.
Yeah. Join us before it happens to you.
That's right.
How about that part?
On the contrary side of that, I was speaking with the Long Beach police chief the other day, a couple weeks ago, in a meeting. And at the end of the meeting, he was alluding to the fact that there's more crime in the black neighborhoods. Wait a minute. Whoa. He was alluding to the fact that black people kill black people.
You know what, Pastor? Let me just stop you. See, because once you said police and Long Beach in the same sentence, I started leaving the room. Okay, because we're here to honor Vicky, and I don't want to spend this time fussing about law enforcement, because I can. And I have the ammunition to set them on fire. So let's just pass on them tonight, because we're here to talk about Miss Vicky and what she wouldn't tolerate. And she would not tolerate that from him. She'd have called him out the same way she called out Chief Beck, okay, and blasted him all over Facebook and forced that guy to show up. Oh, my God. Yeah, so let's leave the police out of our conversation tonight, okay?
Yeah.
You're in charge.
No, we just here to honor our friend and thank her for her commitment, because, Pastor, it wasn't easy and everybody wasn't on our side.
Right.
Okay, and that police chief just told you he's still not on our side. So let's just stop talking about law enforcement just for the few minutes we have left.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you for calling. I really do.
Thank you for allowing the call. Thank you for allowing me a few minutes to share.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Pastor. I'll see you on the 20th.
Yes.
God bless.
God bless you too.
All right.
Yes. That was nice to hear.
Yeah. So there's some regulars that we just, they're just family members that we did all this work together.
That's what they become. See, because, in the years we've had show-ups that showed up and turned offensive to the family, and somebody from your side had to invite them to leave before the victimized family hurt them.
Right.
You see, so we've had that kind of disappointment in some show-ups as well.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is we had the question, well, why did you come?
Yeah.
If that's all you brought, you didn't bring any comfort, and I'm just not even going to go into detail about some of those things, because we don't drop names, but we sure will tell on you. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we'll be transparent.
Yes, we will.
Because our meetings will be open forum. With consideration to be gentle with people who have been victimized, but be transparent. Be truthful, be honest, but also seek justice. It's one thing to want peace, but what about justice? And a lot of times victims will come in there and it's like, we're hoping that the next one don't happen, but we haven't got past this one.
Right, we haven't got past
this person needs justice. I never really liked the word closure, because I don't think that's something that a victim's family looks for. You know, closure is like it can be
They
interpreted
want
as like forget
justice.
about it, and just it
No.
never happened.
They want justice, but just because they get justice, it doesn't make it closure.
Right.
That closure word is for somebody else. It's
Right.
not for the victimized
Right.
family, and
Right.
that's the worst thing. Like, oh, it's time to move on.
Right.
Oh, closure. That's one of them code words that's
Right.
going to start a fight.
Right.
Yeah, you say it to the wrong person.
And a lot of times, that's what we see. The development of what she brought to the table was, again, when a person was victimized or murdered, she didn't just let it go.
No.
It was more to it. We had to look into this.
That's
Who is
right.
this? Who's the family? What kind of support they need?
That's right. That's right.
So she definitely put a voice for the victims that were often not mentioned, because a lot of times when people get killed in our community, it was like business as usual.
Business as usual.
And she wasn't tolerating that.
No, Vicky was not going to be silent. Absolutely not. And that was one of her best qualities in this fight. The victims deserve to be heard.
Yeah.
They deserve to be respected. They deserve to be understood.
Yes.
I have a big hole in me right now. I'm angry about it. I don't have any answers. Where do I go? Who's going to talk to me?
Right.
And have a whole community say to you, well, not me.
Right.
And here you have little Miss Vicky saying, yeah, but I'll be that one.
Right.
If we ain't got but one, I'm here.
Yeah.
You see, and so many times she was the one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
In a city full of able tos that weren't going to, here you got Vicky talking about, well, we're not going to lay down and roll over for you. We're not going to lay down and disappear just to make you happy, make you feel better. My job is not here to make you feel better. I'm here to help the family that's hurting right now.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that are our focus.
Yeah.
Not here to make you feel better and you don't care.
And even at, beyond the street level. So Vicky would come to Cal State University, where we would have the intervention trainings and class and folks getting certified. But she would basically come and talk about the do's and don'ts on how to handle a victim's family.
Yes.
Certain things that you shouldn't say. I know how you feel, or let me pray for you. I mean, just certain things that she was just letting you know might not sit right with a victim at that particular time.
Right.
Here's my card. I mean, all those different things. So she gave us some insight firsthand on how to deal with a victim.
She sure did.
Especially a mother.
She sure did, bless her heart. She sure did. Well, we only have time for one more call if you have somebody scheduled.
Yeah, I actually had two more. I'm pretty sure they tried to call and maybe the line was busy, but to get through, we'd love to have them. If not, I think that they'll probably log on and, watch the show, or whether it's on YouTube or catch the podcast. But I want to thank you for inviting me. I think this was a brilliant idea. Just so many different ways how to honor people. And you never know who's listening or what could be said that could impact the next person. And I believe this is that platform. And I know prior to this, you did it for many years, and so many shows, so many different topics. Is just
You still don't know that I went to radio because of ceasefire. You still don't know that, Taco.
I think you did a lot of things because of ceasefire. It just
yeah, but the radio was because of ceasefire and Watts Gang Task Force, and because we couldn't get the whole community in those rooms, at least the community could know what was going on, and then you came to the radio to tell them what we were doing. You see, so that's how that happened. That was the evolution of the work, so that the community would know that we have committed soldiers. We have a caller? Okay.
Yeah. So no, and that's a great platform, because it does make sense that if folks couldn't make it there, now they could hear it, and so many people could hear from different places, whether it's on the other side of the country, or maybe from a jail cell or wherever, whatever their circumstances might be, a hospital.
Yes.
Who knows? But God granted that opportunity to you to be able to reach out and touch so many lives.
It's only because there was something to reach out with. There was something to reach out with. You see, as you were talking, I was remembering Kashmir James. You remember that young girl, 23 years old, killed Christmas Day.
Christmas Day.
In front of her 3-year-old child, okay? And because ceasefire came out to that press conference in mass, they arrested her murderers quickly. All 3 of them. We knew their ages. We knew their names. We knew that they had somebody under 18 with them at the time. We found all of that out in a matter of weeks.
Right.
You see, and that was the power that that movement had. You put pressure. Yeah. You put pressure where it should have been applied. Yeah. Just like if Vicky was here, she put pressure on whoever that is talking stupid in Long Beach right now. Yeah. You see, that's the power that you had.
Oh yeah, she'd do a press release in a minute. You know,
Well, Vicky didn't keep no secrets, and she didn't cover for knuckleheads, and she tell you this is BS. If it's BS, okay, and she wasn't afraid to say that. Right. Okay, she had no problem being frank and upfront and honest. Right. Honest.
Yeah, and you have to appreciate that when a person is honest to you. I mean, because people can say things that be passive to you, or whatever, but I can appreciate the truth. Yeah. No matter what it is, it can be difficult to take, but because it gives you a sense of direction from that point. You know what I mean? You don't have to guess anymore. It is what it is.
And the truth is, those passives, in their honesty, we know not to expect anything from them. So that's the honest truth in them. Yeah. So, it's just a level it has to operate with honesty from everybody involved. Yeah. And we can't have somebody coming running in like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get in. I'm going to do all of this. And I don't know. Yeah. No, see
how many times we seen that?
Oh my God, too many times. People come in looking for the wrong thing, like they're gonna run over here and get a big check. Right. They're like, a check? And what you gonna do with that check? Yeah. Well, first I need to get it. Right. Well, but what are you gonna do with it? Right. Well, first I need to get it. Well, how you gonna get it? You ain't have a plan. Right. So, we've seen a lot of that too, Taco. We've seen a lot of that too. But the beauty about it is been the consistency. The consistency in the purpose. Maybe faces may have changed, but the consistency has to stay the same. It has to stay the same. We're here for a bigger purpose. The bigger purpose. And bless God and bless you all. We've achieved some success.
Yeah. I think we have. Yeah. I think we also created a platform for healing. Yes. So many people come to the table and say that it was therapy for them. It was they needed, whether they were a victim or a victimizer or just an advocate, for the community. That platform, which she was a part of and helped design, created a sense of therapy for people who needed to either vent or listen or just get some answers, to some of their challenges. Yeah. So that's something that we'll never forget, and we'll continue to integrate into this work. Continue to outreach, the resources, whatever we have available for those who need that, because we don't know what path that would lead them down if they don't get the resources that they need.
You know what, Taco? You've been a light in the darkness. Okay. Thank you. Not covering everything, but a light in the darkness so somebody can see, oh, let me go that way. Okay, let me not go further into the dark. I can't see nothing. Let me try to move over where that light is. Even if I don't know what's going on, at least I can see it. You see, and you've touched a lot of lives just that alone. As you said, the men in prison appreciate what you've been doing out here because it gives them some hope. Well, when I come home, I don't have to go back to what brought me here.
That's right.
Okay? Right. I may not be a Rockefeller, but I don't have to go back to what brought me here. And that's the good news that you've been giving.
Yeah, we want to continue to do that. And like I said, we're looking towards getting in the huddle, see how things could, although they'll never be the same, we really got to figure out something. How can we continue to help our people in a sense of resources? Because we know that our communities are lacking right now, from compounded trauma, whether it's the pandemic or the protests or just, all the other things that already we have to deal with. But we believe collectively coming to the table, there is an antidote.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's in us.
Yeah.
It's in us as a people to go back to what we used to be.
Yeah.
When we cared about our village, when we cared about each other, when the men in the village protected everybody in it.
Right.
They weren't the enemy. They were the protectors.
Right.
So how strange is it that script flipped all the way over and you became the biggest threat? What?
Right.
We lost something. Excuse me. I'm getting excited. But we lost something that you're helping us regain. And that's the nobility of the black man, his character, and his purpose to the black nation. And it's not to fill that cell.
Right.
It's not to make profits for the prison industrial complex. That is not your purpose. That is not your job. Right. Our children need their fathers. We need our brothers.
Right.
We need our men, especially now.
Yeah.
Especially now.
Yeah, right now it's critical.
Yes, it's very critical.
Yeah. This is one of those moments where a lot of things that you don't know what's going on or how things are happening won't get exposed till, years down the line, when they calculate the data, what this happened as a result of this and some other things. But there's a lot of things that's under the radar that's happening that, unfortunately, we won't know until later, unless we really kind of dig into it and say, hey, we need to, fix this now, because later it'll spin out of control or just be too hard to walk it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, we've gone too far to be walking anything back. Really. We're moving forward now. We're in the forward moving. We're coming out of that darkness into that light, and we're dragging everybody with us we can. And the ones that want to stay in the dark, well, y'all just step over here on the left and have a seat. Just don't get in the way.
Right.
Just don't get in the way. Right. We're not going to make anybody do what they don't want to do, but we're trying to encourage everybody to join the healing at least.
Yeah.
As you said, we all can't do the same thing.
We can all do something.
We all can do something. Yeah. And family, let's pray. If you can't do anything else, you ain't got anything else to offer, not a turkey, a cracker, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, at least you can pray.
That's the least you could do.
The least you could do. Yeah. So, Miss Poetess, are we out of time? What'd she say?
1 hour and 7 minutes.
So 1 hour and 7 minutes. Is that enough? Is it time to say thank you and goodbye? Well, family, we're on overtime. Bless our hearts. Bless her heart that we had 7 extra minutes, Taco. So I want to thank you for coming and sitting in and bringing the men's view about our dear sister Vicky. Yeah, this very big loss, a big loss for our movement, not just her family, absolutely her family, but for all of us that loved and cared and appreciated the gifts that she gave us.
Absolutely. Thank you for the invite. Thank you for the platform. Thank you, Poetess, Morse Media Studios.
Yes.
Keep up the great work.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times... if it doesn't seem effective, it is. It is. That one person can get that message and, have an impact on the next person.
Well, that beauty about ceasefire has been communication.
Yeah.
Communication. Whereas Watts Gang Task Force, where I hear they fight, and sometimes they get close to punches and stuff, but at least they're communicating.
Yeah.
They're communicating, and that's the most important thing we need to do now, family, is to communicate with each other, to talk to each other with some kind of care and consideration and just mutual respect.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not asking to move in with you. I'm not asking you to pay my rent. I'm not asking you to buy my groceries. Right. But if we're in a common area and I'm no threat to you, that head nod to be sufficient.
That's right.
That's all it is. Like the old days, I see you, I recognize you, we're all good.
That's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, God bless you, and thank you
God
so
bless
much
you.
for coming and talking about our friend tonight, and to give the men a chance to express their love for her as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
They'll be there in full force. So.
Yes.
So.
Next Thursday, were you going to announce the?
Yes. So next Thursday, 11 a.m. at Little Zion Missionary Baptist Church in the city of Compton, we'll have the memorial service for Vicky Lindsey.
Yes, at 11 a.m. next week from Thursday.
Yeah.
And then the third installment of this Vicky Honors will come this time next week as well. But the Mothers of Murdered Children are going to be conducting that hour. So
All right.
we've given that time over to them, and just want to thank you for paying attention. Thank you for being concerned about this subject, and thank you for your prayers as we thank this exceptional gift God gave us in Vicky Lindsey. Project Cry No More, all the way through Ceasefire, all the way to the Upfest, United Peace Rides, all the other things that she was involved in. So we appreciate that, and we appreciate the time to honor her.
All right.
Well, thank you for listening. God bless your family. Stay safe, stay well. Get involved by choice, not by force.
Amen.
Amen. All right.
LA, straight up. Let's go out to LA. The new anthem, California Love Part 2.